Greetings, 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 brothers and sisters. This is Yasha Ben Israel, also known as Terry Whitfield for the Yasha Ben Israel YouTube channel, asking you to like, share, and most importantly, to subscribe. Today, I have a star studded panel, some of the greatest men you will ever listen to, some of the most humble, some of the most learned Israelites in America, some of the most learned Israelites and humble Israelites of our time. And we're here to have an open discussion, and it'll be is it Afro-Asiatic or Afro and Asiatic? And we're dealing with the culture, the language, and the people. I would like for everybody to introduce themselves, starting counterclockwise. Tori, introduce yourself. Tell everybody about you. Let them know where they can see, where they can catch up with you at,
Hello,
and what,
everybody.
and what you're doing.
Yeah, hello, everybody. I'm Tori. Um, I'm from Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'm an Israelite. I've been a practicing Israelite for about 4 or 5 months now, and
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
yeah, I want to say shalom to everybody, and yeah, I mean you can catch me on the Lions Den or the Tour Nights,
Wonderful.
right?
Wonderful. James Christopher. We have James Christopher in the house. Introduce yourself. Let everybody know about you. A little something about you. Where they can catch you at. Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you emanate from with your teachings and your message.
All right, what's up, guys? James Christopher. I'm on our Facebook. I don't have a podcast, not syndicated, not on YouTube. You know me. I'm going to keep it humble. I'm going to keep it low key. However, I'm after the knowledge, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I am more so interested in retaining this knowledge as opposed to trying to be a household name. I
Mm-hmm.
follow behind Yash. I do quite a bit of personal studies myself. Um, my
Hallelujah.
um, my my whole entire thing, briefly and as quickly as I can, is trying to go to the furthest point of origin up until where we are now. So very humble cat. I'm not the guy that knows it all. Neither am I going to be defeated because of such. But I'm happy to be in the presence of all these brothers. I'm always happy to share the discourse of the Israelite movement, and I'm just gonna keep it popping like that. I appreciate your time.
Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Eric, mad scientist. Come let everybody know a little something about yourself, who you are, where they can get a hold to you, where they can catch up with you, and what you're doing at the moment.
Peace. That's the Eric the Mad Science of True Knowledge. You catch a lot of my stuff on the lines and too. Also, my Eric the Mad Scientist YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Bang. On my Instagram, I got True Hot 30, and my Twitter is ET Mad Scientist. I'm really what I am. I'm a student today. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm doing is just putting up some information and letting my brothers correct it or accept it. You know what I mean? So that's basically what I'm doing because I'm here to learn. Like my one of my first things I always say, the best teacher is the best student. So you got to be a student first before you ever be a great teacher. Teach other people. You got to be willing to learn. Like, peace.
Hallelujah. Now we got True DOA Timothy Learcy in the house.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm True DOA. That's what they call me. True Leslie. I run a Facebook. I'm the second half of a Facebook group called the Guardians of the Torah. Me and my brother Alan Caldwell. And I have a couple of YouTube pages. My main one now is DOA. You should say just DOA. This is what all you do. Just go through scriptures and things like that. I'm more like a Hebrew Israelite / heritage. I deal with things like that. I have about maybe 38 years doing this. Still learning too. So I ain't gonna sit up there and say I mastered it because we never can master this, until we in that ground. But other than that, I'm here to support my brothers here on the panel, especially my brother Terry. I'm always here with you.
Uh, oh yeah, oh yeah. Without no further ado, we're going to get right on to it. Now, brother Erik, we was talking, and Erik was expounding upon some interesting Afro-Asiatic subject matter. The last probably about 3 or 4 days, you know what I'm saying? And he inspired me to want to teach the Hebrew language, uh, and I'm going to be doing that. I wanted to start yesterday, but I'm going through a little something, so I'm gonna get a we're going to get a lesson in before the week is over with. But without no further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to brother Erik, mad scientist, and I like for you all to lend him your undivided attention. Subscribe, 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 and hit that like button. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Erik.
Okay. Yeah, you can share my presentation. I mean, well, it ain't a presentation. I'm gonna say it's like a couple slides on the show, and I just want to start it off with that. So when I started off with this, we can get into it. The reason I started really looking at it because one day, I was studying the museums, the virtual museums. I seen in the British Museum, they had Summer, Canaan, and Israel under the Asia category. So I was talking to Terry. Yasha, Elder Yasha, and we was getting to a point where we understood that these people are talking about Asiatic. They're not talking about Asian people. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I started studying the Asiatic people, and then this is what I came up with when I looked it up. So there's just a couple of things, and then I'm gonna let my brother speak on it afterwards. Let me see. Asiatic language. The family spreads itself over the northern third of Africa into the western Asia, also known as the Near East, and 175 million people speak languages that belong to this family. It is thought to be the parent of at least 250 languages. The name Hemito-Semitic was applied to describe the two main phyla, Hamitic and Semitic, that philologists, I can't stop my bad.
Philologist.
Yeah, I got a country accent. Of African language connected in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The Hamitic branch included ancient Egypt, known as the Coptic, an distinct language known as the Coptic in its final
Optic.
stages. Yeah, Coptic in its
Optic.
final stages.
Yeah.
Berber and
That's Berber.
Cushitic, while the Semitic branch included the well-documented Arabic, Hebrew, and Akkadian. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now I went to the Semitic language. The
It said
Semitic language.
175 people, 175 million people speak that language.
Yeah.
And how many, and it said this, and it is the parent to over 250 different language groups or something like that.
Uh, uh, 250 different languages. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's something.
That's right about it.
The Semitic contains some of the most well-known languages to those in Western culture: Hebrew, Arabic, Akkadian, Phoenician, Syriac, and Ugaritic. Ugaritic.
You
Oh,
go
yeah.
right.
You get
Uterine.
it.
Yep.
Others include. I should be letting one of y'all read this
I,
because.
I, her
Huh?
breed.
Yeah, you. So one of y'all because I know y'all know these
Hey,
languages.
take it over, Tim. I got to go do something.
Can you see
Uh,
it? Is it big
yeah. Let
enough?
me let me
Okay.
let me let me make my screen a little bigger. Then I'll start it from scratch. All right. The Semitic language. The Semitic phylum contains some of the most well-known languages to those in Western cultures: Hebrew, Arabic, Akkadian, Phoenician, Syriac, and Ugaritic. Others include Amharic, Elblite, Essa, Ethiopic, Gurage, Tigrina, Herrera, Harsusi, Linyanite, that's a tough word, Neri, Mobite, the Punic, Shari, Sagatri, Talmudic. I watched that Talmudic there. Africa and Near East. It has the most speakers of any of the phyla, in large part due to Muslim conquest of the 17th century. Baumhart, 1994, 24. I guess that was the guy who gave that article. All right. Arabic alone has about 100 million speakers. Altogether, the 20 or so languages that comprise the Semitic family report around 120 million speakers. That's large. And this one,
Wow.
yeah. An interesting characteristic of Semitic languages is their tie to liturgy. This has accounted for the preservation of the ancient records, the oldest of which, written in Akkadian, which probably would be Sumer, can be traced back some 5,000 years. The Phoenician language also, as above noted, and a member of the Semitic family, is the source of the alphabetical system used in most of the world today. Hebrew and Arabic are almost some of the most well documented of the Semitic languages and of the Afro-Asiatic family. And this is the funny thing: it's the Semitic languages, and it's of the Afro-Asiatic family. It's telling you that it comes from Afro-Asiatic.
Afro-Asiatic.
Okay, we go down to this part right here. Can y'all see that part? Can y'all read that part right there? Or is it too small?
Now the haplogroups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haplogroup E1B1B. Haplogroup EB1B is thought to have originated in northeast Africa and have migrated out of Africa into the Mesolithic. In general, Afro-Asiatic speaking populations have relatively high frequency of this haplogroup, with the notable exception of Chadic speaking populations. Christopher Edrick and Shamar Keela have suggested that the geography of the E1B1B lineage coincides with the distribution of the Afro-Asiatic language. I like that article. I like that
Woo! That is fire, bro. Do y'all know what that means?
article. Mm-hmm. That's power there.
They
I'm
say
sorry to
that the
interrupt. Is
E1B, the E1B1B coincides with the distribution of the Afro-Asiatic languages.
I think a brother wanted to
Wow.
say something.
Go ahead.
I think it was Christopher.
You had a question, Christopher? Or wanted to speak?
yeah,
Come back.
yeah, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is the clipping anybody else? Is the message clipping up real bad to anybody else?
It's kind of clipping up a little bit, yeah.
Well, no, his is. I can hear it, but he'll you might want to go out and then come right back in because sometimes because I can hear
Yeah,
everybody on
I'm sorry to interrupt. Uh,
Yeah,
is
you real
very
clear now.
yes, very clippy.
Um, tell him to go out and then come back in because it might be his jump.
Yeah, you could go out and come back in. I'm gonna let you back in.
Oh, I have a couple of YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
I can hear everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody else.
if you go out and come back in, when you come back in, it'll be real clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it do
And
that.
if you have windows or something like open, close, a couple of the windows
Yeah,
too, that'll
and
cause
you
it
have
too.
some windows open, close them. Yeah, you could go. He got a delay too.
Yeah, he's probably got a lot of his screen
No, that was
screen.
me. That was me playing the phone, making sure that you could hear it through the YouTube.
Oh,
I was making sure everybody's voice was
Oh,
clear in the YouTube.
okay.
Yeah, because I got it on YouTube too, so I'll be looking at
Yeah,
the
I
messages,
can't hear
comments and
anybody. I'm
stuff.
sorry. Everything is sounding.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? Go back out. Go out and come back in. Like go out, just like go out and then come back. Go out, leave the show, and then come back in the show. Yeah.
probably have to type it in the
You see in the
private
corner
chat.
where it says leave studio, and then come back in.
Yeah, it should be at the bottom. But yeah, this, I've seen this. I was like, I got to put this up. You know what I mean? Because I know you always talk about Yasha always talk about the E1, B1, and so I thought people would like this information right here.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
when I took my DNA test, right? My DNA test, and I think I showed it the other on the last show we did. Did I get a chance to show it, Tim?
Yeah, yeah, you showed it. You showed it to me. Well, that was on
Yeah,
the last show.
and it coincided with the language distribution. You
Hmm.
know, the E1B1A. It said that I was Berber. You see, it mentioned the Berbers. Uh, I have some research somewhere. If we could stay on long enough, I'm going to pull it up, and it goes really. It expounds upon what you're saying here. I just got to look and see if I can find it. But yeah, we are the Afro-Asiatics, and the Afro-Asiatic is a language family. And what the Europeans did, William Bleak coined the Bantu. He single-handedly created the Bantu language family to supplant the Afro-Asiatic family, in which where we came from. We originally were Afro-Asiatics,
Exactly. I like that. That's
much
where he
older
said that.
than Bantu. Bantu don't go back. I think William Bleak coined the term in 1865, I believe, somewhere around that time.
Hmm.
You know, the word Afro-Asiatic, Afro-Asiatic, that was coined by Europeans,
Exactly.
Germans, but its origin, the language families itself, go back like it said over 5,000 years, and it predates the language family that they call Bantu. Prior to William Bleak was the first person ever to even begin to start trying to put a time signature up on the Bantu languages. We're not Bantus, we're Afro-Asiatic.
Afro-Asiatic. That's actually a name that was given to us because originally, like you just said, originally they used to just call it a Semitic people. We were Semitic, to be honest with you. But like in 1922, that's when they did it. And like you said, a European did that as a what you call an illusion. Instead of just saying Semitic, they just gave us the Afro-Asiatic, which was still saying the same thing. It's just that not many don't know because of the mixture of the Afro with the Asiatic. They make you think that's something separate when it's actually one and the same. I think we get
Okay,
some
I
time.
just got two more slides, and then we could just
No, go
and
ahead.
then,
Take your time. You take your
oh
time.
yeah,
This is
yeah, no,
good. But
yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
that one with that haplogroup. You best to save that.
Yeah. I just wanted to this is for people who know. I just wanted to show the languages right here. One is one to the right is that I think that's Canaan, Canaanite, or might be Phoenician. I don't know. And then oh man, I think it's Canaanite. And then one is the Alpha, the Hebrew. So I'm just showing the alphabets. I
Well,
wanted Terry to speak on that.
before you go on something, hold on, stop for a second. Before you go on
Yeah.
something, you just made a good point, and because you made that good point, let's stop for a second, pause on that,
Okay.
because in reality, right, you got Canaanite, Phoenician, and all that stuff like that. So that's considered Ham or Hamito, right? Hamito, and then you have Shemsai. So you're gonna have similarities of languages to that point. When you realizing that now, you're showing it as in the lettering system, which is fine. Go ahead. Take it over. I think for some reason we muted.
My bad. I muted myself.
I'm about to say,
I didn't
take
mute
time.
myself. I'm over
Adios.
here
So,
talking and talking. Could you
and
take that
and
back?
and
Could you take that back, Eric,
take
to
it
that
back. Oh,
last?
right here. Okay.
No, no, to the last slide.
This one.
Yeah,
Okay.
the alphabet.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, I'm over here just talking, and my mic is muted. Uh, Amazingly, I want to note that the English language alphabet that we use to define the English language is a Roman alphabet, right?
Uh-huh.
It's not an English alphabet. The English people, the Germanic people, if they used any alphabet, it probably would have been the runes, right? Uh, the English, after Christianity came, they adopted the Roman alphabet after Bishop Waltherless brought literacy into England. And we look at what we call the alphabet in English, we call it the alphabet, right? But in Hebrew, the first two alphabets in Hebrew is the aleph and the bet. If you can follow this cursor right here, you see this aleph? That's the aleph in ancient Hebrew. If you flip that this way, right? If you take this in and flip this down and flip this in over, you'll get the capital A. Do you see it? No, over here to the right. Can you see my cursor? The big cursor?
Yeah, yeah, and I see it, and I see it, and I see it.
Yeah, the big cursor. This here
Mm-hmm.
is actually the aleph, and it is actually synonymous. When we tell you that all alphabets came from the Hebrew, you still see that we still use the same letter A for aleph. Do you see it?
Yep.
All you got to do is just flip it over to the side,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you'll get the aleph. And you could take this bait, right? And you could just flip this over, and then you'll have a lowercase b,
Mm.
right? And that's the aleph bait, the alphabet. These are where our alphabets come from. You got this dalet here, which is pretty much similar to the D, right? You got the long line D, and then you make it more ovaler as opposed to straight triangular. And then you'd have the English D, right? Then you got the hey, which looks just like the E, right?
Right, right.
You see
Mm-hmm.
the noon, right? You got the mem. You see remove the stem right here and flip it upside down. The mem becomes the M. Shorten this stem. The noon becomes the N, right? You see this lamed. The lamed is pretty much like the L.
Like the hell.
You can see the kaf, the K.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at this stuff and just take your mind back and time travel, you can see how these alphabets can't. You got the ta, the T. See that? You got the ayin, the O.
Mm-hmm.
You see all of this. You got the kaf, the Q. You see how you got the circle, and then we had that little stem that comes out of the Q. Now that's the kaf. This
Yep.
gave birth to that. So you got the Aleph Bet Gamma Dalet, right? Aleph Bet Gamma Dalet, Aleph Bet Gamma Dalet, and then the modern Aleph Bet Gamma Dalet, and you got Hey, Wow, Zayin, right? Then you got here Hey, Wow, Zayin, right? Uh, got the Het, the Tet, the Yod, the Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Semek, Ayin, Pei. Is that the Sadi, Kaf, Resh, Sin, Tau? These are where all literature stems from this. You'll find virtually no literature written in the ancient Phoenician alphabet. it's good to know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know the history, and there, and you can see like this here is really shaped like a bull,
Mm-hmm.
and these lines right here is the horns. This here is the head, right? This here is the head. Then you got the horns coming out right there. So the aleph, it has a meaning strength, power, right? A leader, one of authority. I'll get off into that a little bit later, but it'll just make y'all a little familiar with these alphabet. And I want to show you something very unique. I learned the Hebrew alphabet quicker than I learned the damn English alphabet. It took me maybe 3 days to learn all of these. And when we go off into the lessons, we're going to be dealing with these right here to the left, the modern Hebrew, because all surviving literature is written in this form. You got guys telling you that they speak the ancient Hebrew, they speak the ancient Paleo, but these things are not true because they can't prove that. You know, there's nothing out there that they have to validate those claims. We don't have no tape recorders of nobody talking ancient
Exactly.
Hebrew. We don't have no movies, right? We only have literature of an ancient Hebrew, but that literature is recorded the
Right.
ancient Hebrew, but it's recorded with modern alphabets. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you that this here Hebrew that's written in this from the Tanakh, right, is the
Mm-hmm.
same as the Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew that was spoken here in this. It's identical. Only thing changed was the alphabet. So, and the alphabet and the Hebrew, excuse me, the Hebrew of the Tanakh is a different Hebrew from the Hebrew spoken in the land today. Pretty much like how the English spoken today is a different English
Right.
from 1400. I mean, the 1400s and the 15, 1600s. You know. But that being that, go ahead, Eric. You can go ahead. I just wanted to expound upon that and show them how our alphabet, all alphabet, started and got its origin right here in the Phoenician Hebrew alphabet.
Yeah, but you saying it from a natural formulation of it. I agree with you 100%. And then, like you said about these guys with this teaching these whatever, claiming they speaking paleo and all that stuff like that without proof. We need an actual character to verify this, to validate this. But a lot of them did exactly what you did from the beginning. And when I saw what you was doing, and I started seeing it. This is the first time I seen it. And you was making it aware like that. So basically, they made hybrids of these languages. I call it politricks. These new language goons.
Yeah,
I like that. I just learned something myself. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I
You
just
had it
wanted you
down
to see.
pat.
I want you all to see this language too. Y'all see what language this is?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Somali.
Yeah, it's Somali, and it's similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just showing how African language of what they say Afro, they match up with these.
Mm-hmm. You're probably gonna come up with Swahili too. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
tell.
and I just showed this. This is I got just got this from the Ethiopian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that
knew that.
look like an
Yep.
Amharic or
Yep.
Amharic or a Himyaritic.
Yeah, well, that's similar. You got to remember that too. So close in the borders, you know,
Yeah,
Amharic,
Yeah,
especially.
where I got it from, it said Ethiopian. So I don't really
Mm-hmm.
know about the language. I just sharing it.
No, no, it's all similar. But either way, you seeing what's going on here. That's why when I said that the Hamidio, or what you say, Ham in Shem, because they
Yeah,
coincided so closely together, obviously they're going to be able to communicate. So what's going on here? You're seeing how the languages branched out, but the similarities are still there. And it's no doubt it's Afro-Asiatic, a name that they gave to that in 1922, distilled from us knowing that Semitic and Hametio, the prime, right open your face, you can see it right here.
yeah. Then I wanted to go. Then let me see if I got this up. Oh, yeah, right here. Um, And I just picked one of these people out, the American people, like he's talking about. And
Hmm.
hold on, let me see, his ain't pop up yet. Fresh.
And it's pretty funny that all of this came from literally from them,
And
from
this is
us.
M. Hitler. So this is one of the people that I showed right here. So this is the people that's listening. The Hermetic people, Semitic language, Semitic
Hmm.
branch. And this is some of the people.
Yep.
So any of these people that are trying to say Semitic is white people and all this stuff, they don't know what they're talking about. And
Nah.
stop listening to these people.
Mm. What they did is made up a hybrid of our languages, and then this is how they did like modern English from the old English. So they
Yeah.
did.
And people talk about North Africa, right? I seen that some of the Tariq people, and they are also they try to fit them on the Afro Hamitic people. But when I got the book called African Adorned, it's showing that these people really mix with like Arabic and some northern like Beavers. So they're like
Hmm.
fair skinned people because of the Arabic invasion.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but see, now when you look at like the Eritrean languages, the language of Ethiopia, Himyaritic and Amharic, Tigrian, Eritrean languages, uh, believe it or not, that was the original Arabic.
Oh, really?
That was the very original Arabic, and that was the land. That was the language. The
Hmm.
language of Ethiopia was the language that was dominated and used throughout ancient Arabia. And it was during the Christian era. It was during the Christian era and the Muslim era, Islamic era, that pushed those people out of Arabia because they wouldn't accept Islam and they fled into Ethiopia. And the language of Islam became the modern dominant Arabic. And that language is really not called Arabic, it's called Fassa.
Hmm.
It's called Fassa. It's classical Arabic of the Quran. It's the Arabic that the Prophet Muhammad and his clan spoke, but it's not the Arabic of the original old Arabic of ancient Arabia. The original Arabian language actually is Himyaritic and Amharic of Ethiopia.
Hmm. Oh, Kush, Kush, Kush.
Oh, I land my plane.
Yeah, and this is a Tariq person right here that he's speaking on.
Hmm.
A Tuareg Berber.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Tariq Berber. And this is just right here. I just wanted to show this because this is how they put all Asians in because Asia a lot of them are just people who dwelt there and then they see how they try to switch this up. They try to mix this up and like this like what I mean the Asian people and then try to say they the Asiatic people too and I just know that's what they do.
Yeah,
But you
and
see how they put
Asian.
it. You see how they put us in there too.
Yeah, they say
Yeah.
Asiatic supposed to include all of it. But when you look at it at the end of the day, black dominates. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
one thing that all these people have in common. Even the lightest one on there is a melanated person, except for this guy right here. I don't know what the hell he
You
is.
talking about
Ancient
this?
sea people. This
I don't know
ancient
what
sea
the
people
hell
right
going
there. That's
on
what you're
right
looking at there.
there.
Couple of ancient sea people.
He's a ZP. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show. You know what I mean?
Call them invaders. That's what they were. They
Yeah.
invaders. Oh yeah, they invaded. But that's some good heat though. That's some good heat.
Thank
Good
you.
heat.
I just heard him put that up real quick as soon as we got off. I just ended up putting it together.
Hmm. I mean, you handle it real well. I know the other guy, Chris, was in Christopher. He must have. I gave him a inbox, in the private chat for him to go out and come back in. I don't know if he's back on the bottom or not. Check. He was trying to say
Oh yes,
something.
yeah. See if he came in or nothing to anything. So, I mean, y'all.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would see him on the board. But what happened? I don't know. He might have popped in and out. He said, "Go out and come back in." Oh, that was you telling. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened, but he may be watching. I don't. Yeah, but he can come back in. You come back in, Chris, and I can add you back in, and you can be able to hear. He's probably having a terrible time hearing over there. He was saying it was real choppy and everything.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, and that's why I didn't understand about people, right? Because they were trying to say, I they most people admit or say that the Canaanites were black people, right?
Hmm.
And they are fit under the Asiatic people. But then when you put the Israelites who were in Canaan, who mixed in with, who was with them and mixed in with them and all type of stuff, they're trying to say that they're not, but all of them are under the Semitic people and under the Asiatic people.
Correct.
And so they're trying to make it seem like, oh, these people are white, the Sumerians are white people, then the Canaanites are black. So that's why I said these people like, I'm gonna say his name, people like Garfield don't know what they're talking about. Y'all need to stop listening to them.
Well, that's the key thing. Like the key thing here with Afro-Asiatic, like you said, it actually 1922 was when they switched that up and titled that Afro-Asiatic because they was calling the people of something else. I think it was Niger before, basically the original Niger, not like Nigeria Niger, but the original. But Afro-Asiatic is just a name that it's good for us now because it shows that what their intentions was. But that's what that basically was. But I want you to do me a favor because there was something that I never heard of, heard about. Look up the Chadic subfamilies. See what you come up with. You know what I mean? 'Cause I know they got listed with Egyptian, Berber, Kushite. Obviously, that's going to take up all the Ethiopians. But yeah, then it says Southwestern Asia. I mean, from what connection? Nothing scriptural is Southwestern Asia. So they just slid that in. But look up the Chadic subfamilies when you get a chance.
Brothers and sisters, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you all have done. You all have, yesterday morning, I looked up, I think we had 67 views. And then I went back and somehow YouTube took some views. We had like 44, 43 views. And I was upset about that. And I woke up this morning and man, we like about 12, 13, we like 1,300, something like 12, 1,300 views off of the last video. So I thank you all. So, please continue to push that like button and please subscribe. We're trying to get those subscriptions up. Go ahead, Eric. I see you got something for us back there, Eric.
Yeah, you found the Chadic language. Yeah, let's look at that up.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got you right here.
I
15.
should have thought about it. The land, Chad, Niger. When I said Niger, the original what they was calling it first. That's where
Yeah,
that came from. I
you
got it.
go on. You can read it. You can read it.
I knew something was funny about it. The Chadic language, super family of languages in the Afro-Asiatic phylum. Some 140 or more Chadic languages are spoken predominantly in Niger, and like I said, Nigeria was just modern. Niger is totally different. Cameroon and Chad, probably should say Mali also, which would be Timbuktu. The four subdivision of Chadic family: West Chadic, Central Chadic, Bia Mandara, Massa, and East Chadic show considerable differences. Of course, going to have variations. Hausa, a West Chadic language, is one of the major lingua francas of Africa on the national and international level. Approximately 40 to 50 million people speak it as either a first or a second language. Some other Chadic languages include some that had fair large numbers of speakers at the turn of the 21st century are threatened by extinction in part because of the rapid expansion of Hausa. Well, we gotta look into Hausa too. Gotta look into that too. But that might
um,
just be because of that what I said earlier about that
let me
splitting.
ask y'all something. So is it good for the way they do this? Like when they take a people, right, and take their language and then put it over other people, because that's kind of confusing to me. Because they'll be like these Semitic speaking people. Because when I hear that, I'm just thinking of like, all right, we go to Mexico, they're Spanish people speaking people, but they're considered like indigenous to Mexicans, but they speak Spanish. But you
Mhm.
got Spaniards that speak Spanish, and them a whole them post where of course we know most a lot of Mexicans have Spanish in them, but you know what I
Mhm.
mean. Like they put the language over top of everybody. Is this kind of what they doing now? Like they're taking other like so that's why they have different types of group of looking people under the same language.
Basically, like I
Okay.
said, like Terry said, it's kind of like the literally, they do that, right? It's like slowly stealing your heritage and replacing it, basically,
Yeah. Yeah.
with what they want it to be. Meanwhile, here they go, fitting themselves, they bait them from North Africa. They all of a sudden, the regular Hebrew, the modern Hebrew that we have now, literally, which is just a hybrid of the Afro-Asiatic languages, and they just, Germanic, Tiberian, all that stuff. They just made it the thing and put us to the back burner.
Yeah. This the Hassa you wanted me to look up.
Was
It says a
Hasi.
member of the people of northern Nigeria.
Right on the money. Didn't I just say that Nigeria? Didn't I
Yeah.
just say that? I kind of knew that, and I'm not being what you call biased towards them. Like I said, Niger was one, but the Nigerian is, I guess, it's been bought
Uh,
by,
okay.
Europe. They bought them. So when I say bought them, you know what I mean by bought them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm learning something on that because I always heard of, I heard people like Elijah speak on the Asiatic people,
Hmm.
and then when people speak on like Elijah saying that, like when he gets to Farrakhan, people don't understand Farrakhan calls it is I don't heard him say that we are the real,
Hmm.
basically Israelites.
But it's also, if you kind of like look at it, like you got how he got it on the screen. That got Yahawada. You had the Afro-Asiatic, and you see it with the lines in it, right? If you
Yeah,
look at it, it's looking like they're trying to, when they were creating that title for us, they was trying to hybrid something anyway, hide something anyway, because the Asian part of it really don't really fit. You know what I mean? It really
yeah,
doesn't fit until they created the modern maps. For now, all of a sudden, Middle East, and that's all of a sudden the Asian, and they were
yeah,
very
because
smooth.
they got the Euro Asian and
They're very smooth. They're very smooth. But it's a dead giveaway. Afro-Asiatic. They shouldn't have done that part because they left the hints. I'm
yeah, but
surprised he come up.
this show me how deceiving they had deceiving these atheists and comedics had deceiving they trying to make it seem like that there's no evidence, there's no proof, there's nothing that proves that we exist in here, and we have a whole language over Africa.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's crazy because if
Well,
you would just to listen to them and don't research, you would think, oh no, they don't exist and this and that.
Well, you best to believe now you're going to have what you call a counter to which for the night. You're going to have a counter. It's going to
Yeah,
be a trending topic. They're going to be like all their best of the best are going to come out and try to counter all of this, and it's like clear as a whistle. And we're not really doing this because we learned
no,
this and we're teaching this. No, we coming across this and you can
yeah,
see it clear. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Because I want to see how they could get over that E1B1. I want to see how they could get over that. I want to see what they gonna do because they the first ones that talk about DNA and all this stuff.
Hmm. And remember, I don't know if it was on the last one where I was like, actually, like, I'm strictly scriptures, and I'm like, I don't even subscribe to that DNA because it's not in the scriptures. But now, when you open this up like this, I might become one of them ones that push it too.
Yeah, yeah,
In the what you call it, in the right fetch, because the way Terry explained it, it'd be literally, there's really no way around it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
You know what I mean? No way around it. But I don't know where these people coming up with their, because like you said, and actually, to come up with a source language, you need a source. You need a
Exactly.
source, right?
Yeah,
Where's the source? You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
don't I don't see anybody 5,000 to 6,000 years old walking around.
exactly.
But because the languages are so similar, obviously you can pick and choose this and that, and you create a hybrid of that, and boom, these guys are masters at parlor tricks, masters at it. I like that. That Hasa, that's right on the money, exactly. And I never really studied that. I know about Chad. I know about like Mali or Timbuktu, and I learned something about the original Arabic. We call it classical Arabs. It's totally different
So,
than
what you let's go to the Mali. What would you? Because I want to know what you mean by the Mali thing. So, what would I have to look up for
well,
that?
well Mali, the actual Mali, like Timbuktu, what you call it,
Yeah.
like like the from Babylon to Timbuktu. That Mali, or King Mansa Musa and all that, were actually, I should say, Muslims would be the right word, but they were totally different than
Yasha, you
how we
trying to
look at.
show something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I seen it.
Yeah,
Oh, you go ahead, brother. I thought
yeah.
I seen
They like totally different than how we got the modern Muslims now, Islam now, literally. But there's no
it.
way for us to compare it because guess what? We don't have a time machine to go back in time and actually validate that. So when Terry said what he said, it made a good point. Classic Arabic language is totally different.
Okay.
So we look at. I got something here. I got a couple slides. I'm trying to read it, hoping it's not too
Hey,
lengthy.
and tell Yasha, JJ said send a link.
Oh, okay. Hold it down for me while I send her the link. I sent her
Okay.
the link earlier.
Okay.
Hey Jay, I sent you the link. I'm gonna send it to you again.
So then they let me ask you about because I want to know a little bit about the better Israel. Um, are they blood Israelites or are they converted? Because I heard they part of Israel, right? If I'm mistaken.
I want to say Beta Israel is not that. They're more like a Commonwealth Israel. So there's going to be a cumulative of different. You know what I mean? You're going to have a different uh, there. It's not like
Okay.
bloodline. I have to say
Okay.
that.
Because I thought back in the day I heard them say one time they was like the DNA said that some of them was like Levite priests, but I never heard them speak on that.
No, no,
Okay, okay.
no. I mean, it's not a bad thing you say better. It's not a bad thing because technically, as true Israel, we are supposed to be what you call a light to everybody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
obviously, it would be a big, great commonwealth, a commonwealth of Israel. So obviously, we would all be together. Like how what they said, uh, like when they left out of Egypt the first time, it wasn't just only Israelites there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you're gonna have that. But
And I
to say their blood, that's something different. Actual
okay.
blood, that's something different.
Yeah, because it's a place where I'm from. Right? I'm from Virginia. And I was looking up this thing called Israel Hill, and
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there.
yeah, to see what it was, and some of the sources say that it's basically they consider themselves Israelites and they build a community.
Well, you gotta remember. I mean, if we could get a time machine and go back in time, right,
Hmm.
and think about the slaver ships was traveling, the manifest on the ship like that. Yes, they knew they had some of true Israel on those boats. They knew this. All right. Not saying that everyone that was on that boat was,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they knew. They knew. Okay. So obviously, when it came down to our heritage and our culture, obviously some of us had opportunities under certain masses. We could still live our culture a little bit, keep up with it a little bit. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
obviously, that particular group probably when you look at it, they kept the culture up as far as they could keep it. But obviously, one thing about how they say it, black folks stick together if they could stick together. Well, at that time, they probably was sticking together. Now, modern black folk now we fight each other. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
Yeah, because I just because see, I grew up. I ain't gonna lie. When I came to Israelite, I was leaving Kemet. I was studying under setting. I was leaving Kemet, and I was going under ASUBK. You know what I mean? And
mm,
and they gave me, a hatred towards Africans. as I can say. And when I
Yes,
left,
yes, yes, yes. All right,
yeah,
that
and
that I can understand.
when
Hmm.
I stopped dealing with them, I started studying myself, and then I started studying Africa and stuff like that. And I learned that we are being taught to hate them, and they're being taught not to like and to hate us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And the reason why he gave didn't make any sense because he said, "Oh, Africans helped slave us or sell it to the slave trade," but they also said Hebrews did too. So you can't not hate one people then hate another people. It's like you got
Well,
to understand, and then
hmm,
it's not all Africans. It was certain people like the Benin people, certain
hmm,
tribe.
hmm.
So for him to say a whole people just because of certain people did it, that means you have to hate all the natives. You have to hate all, you know what I mean? Well, all of them didn't have a part in that,
Right, right.
and that's why I like tribes and stuff because I like to be specific of
Mhm.
who did what. You know what I mean?
It's kind of hard, kind of hard. Like as you got to remember, you as a human being, as a person, going to have compassion for everybody, regardless of what color, creed, whatever. You that's the first thing you got to recognize. You're going to have that, and that's the same thing with True Israel. True Israel is a very compassionate people, right? So obviously, having that compassion is like almost like a sign. I can get over on these guys. They're too nice. They're too, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
obviously, that's what goes on. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, we know the truth that some Africans, how would they say it? And that's not even the right word to be saying, but that's what they gave us Africans. Some did sell us. Some of our own, as far as that, did the same thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Now that's a harsh thing to say too. But like, well, why would we do that? Well, think about it. The European, the Portuguese, they were already powerful where they had weapons. We didn't have that. All right, we didn't have that. That had rum. We didn't have that. You know what I mean? So obviously they want us to be greedy, riches. Boom. That's what happens. You can't blame us for that. That's our ancestors, but we're not them. I mean, we're from we're descendants of them, but we have that same compassion that was always there. We just gotta don't let that be our downfall with the European or with the Africans that sold us. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah,
and that's not me saying that to be nice because I shake it down all the time with like some of those ones that's pumping a lot of that bullshit. I think they even said that one time about like the Chinese. I think was that last year, the year before last, where the Chinese and African thing was like hardcore trending. Oh, they hate us. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because
yeah,
sometimes it might be the individual of that particular group that was having a beef with somebody individual from this particular group. They like to stage stuff. So don't
yeah,
get it twisted. They like to stage stuff. They like to make shit be that it ain't.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I talked to a couple of people who actually went to China and stuff like that, and they said, man, it's not like what people try to make it seem like that. They said they'll make you think that the whole China is like just advanced. It was like it's an
Hmm.
advanced part, and then it's still tribal people that still live in huts and everything out
The
there.
key
So
word propaganda. Propaganda.
yeah,
That's the word. Propaganda. They
Pretty
was
much
doing
like
that.
over here. You got
Hmm.
part. You got places over here down in Kentucky that some places don't even have real good sewer systems, man.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Why you take your you ain't speak on the junk yet, y'all before you took it down.
Oh yeah, y'all was doing y'all thing. Y'all was getting so far off the subject.
Nah, I just because you was supposed to bring JJ on, so I was like, what I mean, so we've been
Yeah,
talking to.
he said he making him he getting him some grub on him. He'll pop
Okay.
in and send him the link.
Yeah, but
No,
show your E1B1 thing because I wanted to see what you
yeah.
had to say about it.
Yeah, show that again. We gonna come back on the Afro-Asiatic. We ain't done. We ain't done. We just are open for ourselves now. So now we got something to actually explode on.
Yeah.
It's up.
Hmm.
Okay. I can't read it. But
Okay. We talk about Okay, we're talking about haplogroup EM215. It is also the E1B1B, formerly known as the EB3. When I had taken my DNA test some 20 plus years ago, it was called EB3. All right. So I'm going to read this article. This is not where I wanted to go first though. Okay, I want to go back here. It says the E215 and the EM35, the EM215 and the EM35 are quite common amongst Afro-Asiatic speakers. Remember how your information said that earlier, Eric?
Yes.
How the Afro-Asiatic language went along with the distribution of the E1B1B. It said the linguistic group and carriers of the EM35 lineage have a high probability to have arisen and dispersed from the Afro-Asiatic Urhamet amongst populations with an Afro-Asiatic speaking history. A significant portion of Jewish male lineages are EM35. Again, a significant portion of the Jewish male lineages are EM35, which is the E1B1B haplogroup, or the EM35, which accounts for approximately 18% to 20% of Ashkenazi and 8.6% of Sephardi chromosomes, appear to be one of the major founding lineages of the Jewish population. So this is saying here that the E1B1B, or formerly the EB3, the EM215 or EM35, it said it is a significant portion. It is the major portion of the Jewish lineage. And it says that it accounts for 18 to 20% in the Ashkenazi, which means that they looking for, when they look in the Jewish gene, they'll tell you that the Jews that they're looking for are J1, the J genes, the J1 and the J2 genes, right? But even in that J2 or J1, they must have at least 18 to 20% E1B1B, which tells us that E1B1B is the Hebrew haplotype, right? That's what it tells us. That's the significant portion of the Jewish male lineage, as we can see it right here, right? It says it's a significant portion of the Jewish male lineages are EM35. Now we're going to crack this open here. The EM215, also known as the E1B1B and formerly EB3, is a major human chromosome DNA haplogroup. It is a division of the microhaplogroup EM96, which is defined by a single nucleotide polymorphism. Single nucleotide polymorphism. We call it the SNAP. Some mutation to M215. In other words, it is one of the major patrilineages of humanity. The E1B1 is old. It's one of the major patrilineages of humanity, linking from father to son back to a common male ancestor. Why? The chromosomal atom. It links E1B1B, links us all the way back to the chromosomal atom. It is a subject of discussion and study in genetics, as well as genetic genealogy, archaeology, and historical linguistics. Now, the question we have here, is it Afro or Asiatic, or is it Afro and Asiatic? The EM215 haplogroup has two ancient branches that contain all the known modern EM25 and EM35 and EM81 subclades. That's a new one we got to remember, the EM231. Of the latter two, the EM215 subhaplogroups, the only branch that has been confirmed in a native population outside of Ethiopia is EM35. EM35 in turn has two known branches, the EV68 and the EZ827, which contains by far the majority of all modern EM215 subclade barriers. And the EV257 and the EV67 subclades, each respectively their highest frequencies in North Africa and in the Horns of Africa, and also a lower percentage in the parts of the Middle East and Europe, and its isolated populations of Southern Africa.
Yeah, that's deep right there.
I'm going to just go. I could read this whole thing. Would y'all like for me to read this whole thing?
Oh yeah, it's fine with me. Take this comment there because I can't really see.
Okay. How is it? We're gonna have to go back
Yeah, my mic
here.
was. Yeah, dude, you doing good. Dude. Keep going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
The comments. How we?
There you go.
All right. So we talk about the origins of the E1B1B. The origins of the EM215 were dated to Cruciani. Were dated by Cruciani in 2007 to about 22,400 years ago in the Horn of Africa. The EM35 was dated by Brittany in 2015 to between 15,400 to 200, to 20,500 years ago. In June 2015, Trombetta et al. Reported, that's one of the geneticists, one of the leading geneticists, reported a previously unappreciated large difference in the age between haplogroup EM215 and its sub haplogroup EM35, and estimated its origin to be in North Africa, where the node separating the EV38 and the EM215 branches occurred about 47,500 years ago. It's saying that it originated here in Northeast Africa. That's like near the Egypt and Tunisia and Carthage area, right? Uh, the major subgroups of M35 are thought to have originated in the same general area as the parent group in North Africa, the Horn of Africa, or nearby areas of the Near East. Some branches of the EM35 are assumed to have left Africa thousands of years ago, whereas others have arrived from the Near East. For example, Underhill in 2002 associates the spread of the haplogroup with the Neolithic Revolution, believing that the structure and regional pattern of the EM35 subclades potentially gave reagents with which the infer specific episodes of population histories associated with the Neolithic agricultural expansion. The Battaglia et al., which is another geneticist, in 2007 also estimated the EM35, called the E1B1B1A1, in that paper has been in Europe longer than 10,000 years. So understanding, this here is amazing to me. According to human remains excavated in Spanish funeral caves dating from approximately 7,000 years ago were
Mm-hmm.
shown to be in this haplogroup. Two more EM 78 have been found in Neolithic soppet and lingeal cultures too. So we can see that we see that the E1B1, this branch goes all the way back to Adam, and the mitochondria, the chromosomal atom, and we also see that it gave birth. It gave birth to the Israelites. It gave birth. It's a significant portion of the Jewish population, and we can see that this thing go back over 10,000 years, right? Where its human remains were excavated in Spanish caves, going back approximately 7,000 years ago. We have a very, very, very old haplogroup, brothers and sisters. And this is how we can see how this stuff ties in with the Moorish literature and things of that nature. I'm going to skip down some because all of this is basically telling you about how in the Mediterranean and the Canary Islands, like right here where it says, additionally, haplogroup E1B1A has been found in an ancient Egyptian mummy excavated at the Abasir el Malek, our agricultural site in the Middle Egypt, which dates from the period between the late New Kingdom and the Roman era. So we talking about during the time of the Israelites, this E1B1 gene was a very black and African gene. These ancient individuals bore an autochthonous Maghribi, from the Maghreb of Africa, genomic component that speaks amongst the northern modern Africans, indicating that they were ancestral to the population in the area. The E1B1B population has likewise been observed in the ancient Guach fossils excavated in Gran Canaria and the Tenerife on the Canary Islands, which have been radiocarbon dated between the 7th and 11th centuries CE. The clade-bearing individuals were analyzed by patrilineal DNA, were inhumed at the Tenerife site, with all of these specimens found to belong to the E1B1B1B1A1, or the EM183 subclad. Wow, that's a lot to remember. Loas
Too
Direct,
much to remember.
yes, Loas Direct analyzed genome-wide data from 7 ancient Ibero-Eurasian individuals from the Grate de Pigeon near Tafarat in eastern Morocco. These fossils were dated between 15,100 and 13,900 calibrated years before the present. The scientists found that 5 male specimens with significant cultural DNA preservation belong to the E1B1B1A1 M75 subclade. That's a lot to say. With the skeleton bearing the E1B1B1A1B A1B1 parental lineage to EV13, another male specimen belonging to the E1B1B. So we can see here, we talk about these Somalians here, we talk about the distribution. In Africa, the EM215 is distributed in the highest frequencies in the Horn of Africa and in North Africa. Specifically, the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, where the Ethiopian Jews is, North Africa, where the Berbers is, and the Sahara Israelites, from where I emerge. Specifically in the countries of Somalia and Morocco, where it has been in recent millennia expanded as far as South Africa and northwards into Western Asia and Europe, especially the Mediterranean and the Balkans. Almost all M215 men are also in EM35. Wow. In 2015, EM215 was found to be older than EM35 M35, where individuals were found to have when individuals excuse me there when individuals were found to have 215 mutations but do not have M35 mutations. In 2013, one individual in Khurasan, northeast Iran, was found by Di Cristoforero et al., which was one of the Di Cristoforero is another geneticist. He found this in 2013 to be a positive for M215, but negative for M35. Okay, this we about to get into the meat now. The EM215 and the EM230, excuse me, the EM215 and EM35 are quite common amongst Afro-Asiatic speakers. The linguistic group and carriers of EM35 lineages have a high probability to have risen and dispersed together from the Afro-Asiatic Euromite, right? Amongst populations with the Afro-Asiatic speaking history, a significant portion of Jewish male lineages are EM35, E1B1B. Haplogroup EM35, which accounts for approximately 18 to 20% of Ashkenazis, 8 to 6% to 30% of Sephardi chromosomes, appear to be one of the major founding lineages of the Jewish population. The following table includes samples more than one EM215 men with all known subclades as of June 15. It contains a EV1515 clade defined by Thrumbeta in 2015, and all the E1B1B subclades distributed below the Sahara, which were identified as EM35 basal-clades in the former phylogeny. Let me see what else I got here. I think that's about as far as I wanted to go with that. Everything else is just going more so off into Jewish, just all the other information I got is proving that the Jews were E1B1A, E1B1B. But I really didn't want to get off into that, even though the Jews are Afro-Asiatics, right? I just want to focus on the larger group, which includes the Hebrews, the Jews, the Israelites, which is the Afro-Asiatic family. And we're seeing that the Afro-Asiatic family is much bigger and much blacker than just Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Of
You know,
course. Of course.
there's another research that I have somewhere that talk about how all of the ancient Babylon, Iraq, Babylon, all of the Fertile Crescent, all the way to Egypt and Ethiopia, all the way to the northern parts of Africa, were all E1B1 people. So basically, all of the Bible people from the Old Testament were largely E1B1B, even if they were not Israelites, even if they were not even Shemites. They were largely E1B1B people. Why?
Question.
Because we
Question. I
all
want
go
to
back
ask.
to Adam.
Question.
Yeah,
Is that like saying they were black?
very much identical.
Thanks so. Thought so. You
Very,
already know that Nimrod, the starter of all of that Babylon and Akkadian,
but he was
all
a
that stuff like
Cushite.
that. That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, he was a Cushite.
That's the thing that they can't get around. They can't twist. They can't. They because they got a couple of these funny groups now. That's like they're whiting out every damn thing. But if you go by the ancients, it's impossible for them to not be all black.
Yeah, so we had I mentioned in that study what's important is that the guys who had their names and et al after it, those were the geneticists, and those are the people you look them up when
Hmm.
somebody want to challenge you about the Jewish gene E1B1B.
Hmm.
They won't tell you that the Jews is not E1B1B. They won't tell you that you're not E1B1B. They're just going to say you're not a Jew.
Hmm. Well, they can keep that title if they want to, but I'm gonna say I'm Judah.
Yeah, Jew, the same thing.
Nah, I'm just
Tomato,
saying that because
tomato.
I'm just saying because a lot of them they have a hard time when you say no, 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 no,
I'm
you not
Jewish,
Judah.
I'm Israelite, I'm Hebrew, I'm all of that, bro. I ain't got time to
Mhm.
play these stupid games with stupid people, bro.
No, that's very, very, very good. But that's good, though. The origin of Afro-Asiatic. Afro-Asiatic. They done messed around and then got us on this thing now, and we done figured out
Big
something.
Daddy Kane say, I'm the acrobatic Asiatic rap fanatic. I get ecstatic. Rhyme start flowing automatically.
Well,
So share my screen again. I got two more things let me show them.
I was thinking about how the rap used to record all that stuff, and back in the day, if you would listen to the rap when we was coming up, you would have a pretty good education in
Yeah,
African history. If you listen to the X clans and the
that's right.
yeah,
Ravage ones and Nas's and
Protect
Public
your
Enemy,
butt
yeah,
yeah. Even Tupac. Tupac
yeah,
was
even
African.
Pop to a degree, he was the last of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Well,
It's two things I want to show right here. All right, check this out. It says in 2013 they went to the cemetery where they had the Jews in Germany. Right. Grammary stood empty, and the
hated
city
it.
and the city permitted the conversation to the parking lot. This required additional construction and archaeological rescue excavations. The genetics team received a special permit for the local Jewish community, which allowed the research to retrieve DNA and detach teeth that had already been collected as part of the rescue excavation. The analysts revealed two distinctive subgroups within the remains, one of the Greater Middle East ancestry, which may represent Jews with origins in Western Germany, and other with Greater Eastern and Central Europe ancestry. The modern Ashkenazi population formed a mix of these groups and observed little to no outside genetic influence over 600 years that followed. All right, so I'm gonna go back to right here. That's just the ones in Germany. Let me go to this. The University of Sheffield. For a more scientific take on Jewish origin debate, recent DNA analysis of Ashkenazi Jews, a Jewish ethnic group, revealed that their paternal line is European. It has also been found that their DNA only has 3% ancient ancestry, which links them to the Eastern Mediterranean, also known as the Middle East, namely Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and Western Jordan. So that's 3%. This is the part of the world Jewish people are said to have originally come from, according to the Old Testament, but 3% is minuscule amount and similar to what modern Europeans as of a whole share with the Netherlands. So given that the genetic ancestry link is low, so low, Ashkenazi Jews' most recent ancestors must be from somewhere else.
I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you a question, right? It's a
yeah.
simple question. You read scriptures. We all read scripture. Scripture, scripture, scripture. Where the hell do we get a Ashkenazi Jew in the scriptures? Can you tell
Exactly.
me?
But you see how they try to sneak that in. I thought you. I see how they try to sneak that in. They try to say, "Oh, the Old Testament said that these people," but then they don't want to. Then they sit there and try to admit it that these people are not Israelites, and they don't even have 3%. They only have 3% of ancestry, Israelite ancestry in them, and so they're from
Uh,
somewhere else, but still try to secretly act like they are the Jews that the Bible was speaking of.
That's
So
right.
that must means that at the 18 to 20% must be the highest that they would have in them.
Yeah,
I don't even go with that. To be honest with you, I
But
don't.
they
I
DNA
don't.
say they come from somewhere else.
Like I
because
said,
what
you go.
because I seen a little study of what they did is they showed they was testing the non-Jewish German and the Jewish Germany, and they really comparing them and not finding no difference. Because we already us black us Jew us Israelites been saying that they were not, that they are nothing but Germans in other places, but
See, but
just
this
converts.
is why I was telling you the science is not exact. Because there's a geneticist that are arguing back and forth. One guy do a study, then another guy come out and do a study, then it'll top his study, then another guy come out and do a study, and then it'll top his study. So it's like a constant back and forth, back and forth. You
Yeah,
know, but what is happening is that I say that to say that for anybody out here that has a genetic study that says that Europeans are the real Jews, I can show you people that are equally or even better, higher educated, right? That will show you how they're not. And they're
yeah,
saying, it's just like that with archaeology. There's people out here that can show you archaeologists, right? The minimalists and some in some degrees the revisionists. They'll show you their work, but all you got to do is go get the maximalist work. And the maximalist most of the time is better educated, longer educated, and more experienced than the minimalist, almost in every case.
Well, like I
You know,
said, they're not just that they got all those degrees and everything else, and all this arguing with each other with that. Let me tell you something. They can solve this in 2 minutes. All they gotta do is say, "Give me an Old Testament, give me a New Testament, and show me where any connection Ashkenazis became Israel. Show me, show me there, show me the book,
we
even with
won't
the
we
book
won't
that's
have
removed."
that because according to Arthur Koestler, the 13th tribe, and
Yeah,
many others, many others. He's not the only one. According to him, there wasn't no European Jews prior to the late 700s.
that's giving them a good bargain there. Tell you the
That's that's AD. Prior
truth.
to the 7th century, there was no such thing as.
You're gonna have to repeat that
and
again.
and,
You
and,
broke
and
up.
what really made white Jewry popular was
Hmm.
none other than Nazi propaganda.
Say it again. Nazi propaganda.
Yep, there was Nazi propaganda that made European Jewry so prominent in the world. Prior to World War what, 2 or 3, 1,
World
prior
War
to
Two.
World War II,
Yeah,
really, I would say prior to the Berlin Conference, you never even heard a white Jewry, people around the world at the turn of the century saw Jews as black people still. It wasn't until after World War II, that people began to start seeing Jews as white folks.
exactly. Well, I probably a few of us still got that Time Life book called The Nazis, and I think they used to have it on YouTube. They took it off now. In itself, it had that exactly what you just said. It had exactly that what you just said. So they were
And you
basically.
had white Jews,
Hmm.
but the stalk was always known to have been black.
That's right. That's right.
So we are Afro and Asiatic. Considering Kush, right? Kush is Ethiopia, son of Ham, right? But Kush also is a land in Iraq.
Yeah, of course. But that's why
That part,
I said
you
to
know.
you in the beginning before you made this title, that would be a good either way. You could go either or, Afro and Asiatic or Afro Asiatic. No matter how you look at it, it sums up the same.
all right. So now, because I heard people say this before, that the Ethiopian in the Bible is not the same as the Ethiopian of today. Is that true or?
Uh, well, You know
Well,
what?
there's some
Mm,
validity to that because
yeah.
the Ethiopian today, the lingua franca, the dominant Ethiopian is a Shemite. He's not a Hamite.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Omo people
Mm-hmm.
and people like that, those are the Hamites, and you can see it in their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the dominant people long time ago. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? In like in the days of Moses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but in
Right.
our time today, those people have been reduced. I don't know what happened in history to cause it. You know,
Remember,
maybe Islam. You know, Christianity.
no, I wouldn't even say Christianity and Islam did it. I wouldn't even say that. You remember in the 70s, you grew up around the time, you a few years younger than me, but in the 70s, it was talking about that save the Ethiopians, save Somalia. Everybody was they was all poor, 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 poor. They made a big deal out of it, which was true. They were poor, but at the same time, the European was being slick. He was hoping for that because replacement, replacement, replacement. That's what happened. So to answer your question, that's the only reason why there's a difference from that time and now. And that's not only just with Somalia, same thing. All these places, same thing.
Yeah, see that's the same thing I teach when I teach the indigenous American side. When I teach that they bring like to the Philippines, they bring these Siberians, they bring these other people in to replace you, but then they try to
Mhm.
use their DNA and say, see, this their DNA, say they're the original people, but then,
No,
then they'll take another people and hide them and make you think they don't even exist anymore because they changed their names and stuff. So yeah, these people really tricky with that.
let me tell you something. I know that goes on too. We got to look at this literal, as far as even like with the scriptures. When Peleg split, that was all. Everything was all connected at one time. So obviously, who was on that side of the land and was on that side of the land when the land split, obviously you're gonna have the same people. So let's don't bullshit and all that Bering. What do they call it? The Bering Strait crossing and all that garbage.
Yeah,
Bullshit. So
yeah,
were you trying to
Marshall
say that
Land.
nobody was on this land and they crossed over? Come on,
Exactly.
please, please, please.
And they don't even know they have a mythical story. They don't even have a real historical story of how they got over here.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's they've been doing that to the Australian. They've been doing that to the.
Oh,
It's like
I
when
was
I
getting
start
ready to
going
say
into a
that.
lot of this history, I
Hmm.
start seeing the hidden. Like you start seeing the people they had. Like why they not talking about these people? Why they making it seem like these
Hmm.
people are the face of the whole country when it's these people out here? It's like the Philippines. They don't really. We had to study and actually hear about. We got to go study and find on the Greedos.
You
They don't
know,
really
and
put them in front of us.
in I think it's the First Kings where when the kingdom split, Rehoboam and Jeroboam split, there was a bunch of dwellers that participated in helping to split. They called them the troglodytes, basically cave dwellers. All right, like the Horite and all those guys in older days. But Rehoboam in the split situation, this troglodytes played a key role in it. Obviously replacement here or there because the first split, Israel, the northern kingdom, right, went into basically captivity or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want. They were lost, 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 lost. As they was getting lost, guess who was coming in? You know what I'm saying? Same thing how they do us now. Same shit.
Now I have a question because I studied the connection the Egyptian and the Canaanite connection. Right, I have a presentation on that of how Canaanites actually controlled a part of Egypt. Now I know in history, from me studying history, they entwine Canaanites with Israelites. Now they have a historical part where the Canaanites actually went into Egypt, and then they had a mass exodus out of Egypt back into Canaan. Now
Hmm.
I'm asking, could them have been Israelites, but they just used the word Canaan because from what I understand, Canaan is just the people of that land. So it's
Well, you gotta remember there was two Canaans first to begin with. You got Shemsi Canaan too, Canaan, right? The Bible don't really talk too much in depth of his story, but believe it or not, the actual land of Canaan belonged to that Canaan. Somebody said, "What the hell?
wow.
How can the hell that Canaan, right? You can only find it like in the Septuagint with the separation of with the difference of the name. But think about it. all the patriarchs, right, prior to Egypt, I'm talking about prior to Egypt, were basically dwelling in Canaan. All along, we was always dwelling in Canaan. You know what I mean? The only time where it changed was when Joseph went into Egypt, and then eventually the Egyptians did what? They gave Joseph a bit of Egypt. We call it Goshen, Goshen, right? And basically, we was doing good in Goshen as far as that, building up the land and everything. And then here you go. Somebody didn't like that. That's why we got that Exodus uh, chapter 1. Somebody didn't like that, but they twist up the story a little bit, metamorphose it, make it look like it's Egyptian, but actually it was invaders. Okay, we're never gonna find this out. Even reading Josephus, never gonna find it out. They call it the Ixos and all that. They could have been Israelites. We don't know. There's no way to actually to research it to even find out. But that story what you just said, it's a possibility, and that would be a good somebody could have a good discussion on something like that.
Yeah, because yeah, when I did Canaanite, I realized that it was like seven. What I guess it would say, tribes,
Mhm.
people that made up the Canaanites. Then they added Israel. They say, well, they
Mhm.
came later on and added that up. So I
Well, you
always
got to
ask
look
when
at
they
the
say a
surroundings.
Canaanite, like who are they
Mhm.
talking about? Like are they talking about as a whole or certain people? You know,
Yeah, look at the surrounding area of Egypt. Like the upper and lower Egypt, and you look at it from what with that lens. Canaan basically is like surrounded. You combine Cush, which is that's brother. Mizraim is Egypt, but that part of Egypt weren't the same. Not
yeah,
the same. So you got to look at it that way. So it's all possibilities, always.
yeah, okay, yeah,
And that's why we think
I
about it.
studied.
For us to say that some of the Israelites, I think, when you did your first show, Yasha, like you just said something about we mixed with some Canaanites. Yes, I agree. That is
Yeah,
true. But that does not make us Canaanite, though. That's the
okay,
part he made a mistake. We're mixed, because we had married into them. Had kids from them. But it still would be Israel, no matter how you look at it. But from a lot of people turn around and say, well, Israel is actually Hamites. No, that's not true. We're not Hamites. Okay,
oh yeah,
we
yeah,
commingled with them. We had children from them, and vice versa. Yes, vice versa. But that didn't change the lineage from Shem to Ham. And to this day, it can't change the lineage. But this Japhet thing, this Ashkenazi, I still want to figure out where do we read that in any of the scriptures or any of the New Testament. Where do we read this at? Hmm?
exactly. Yeah, they secretly. I see how they brainwash people because a lot of they
That,
know a lot of people don't really read the Bible,
mhm.
so they can a
That's the
lot of
only
things.
power they have is through the brainwash. Because other than that, you ain't gonna read it. No way. You can't even read it in the Sadaqah books. You
Oh,
can't read it in the Apocrypha books. You're not gonna read it. So where did this come from? Huh?
yeah.
Where did this come from?
I mean, 'cause from me as a kid growing up, I
Hmm.
was never told that they was like the Israelites. I just told they was Jewish people in Germany, and
Really?
they got their own nation created by America in 1948, and so like
But
they was
you do the math. You do the subtraction, the addition, the multiplication, what I'm saying, or
yeah
even if you want to go square roots. How do you get right? How do we get Ashkenazi Jews? How do we get that?
yeah
It's impossible to say that they're Israel. How do
yeah
you get that? So, in reality, what are we wrestling with? Yeah, they're Ashkenazi Jews, but that ain't us. In the scriptures, they ain't talking about them either. So, what's going on here? Did they create their own set of
yeah
roadmap for this? Or what's going on?
yeah
They had to. They had
yeah
to. And I'm not a
yeah.
Talmud guy, so I wouldn't sit up there and say, well, maybe in the Talmud it shows it. But I don't think so because the Talmud is Babylonian. Hmm?
Yeah, true that, true that.
Babylonian is Hamite. So still, where did they get there? Where did this come from? But like you said, brainwashing. While we're always being oppressed, they keep throwing that at us, and hand it down. 'Cause remember, 1948 was the big date for them, but it took place like in the 700 AD when they were actually doing their thing.
Peace, Victor World. Peace. Like and subscribe. Anybody that's watching. Peace to JJ. Peace to Yahweh Dad. Um, what I like in this build. We will come, we become more and more, give more information. It's a good team right here. Hold on.
Well, we're gonna have to get Terry back. He was going good with the Afro and Asiatic. I like the way he did that. He need to come on back. Come on, bring some more out. Bring some more out. Be nice. He probably muted, don't realize it. Let me see, was anybody in the comment section saying anything? No, 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 no. Well, a lot of things we brought out tonight.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh,
Oh, Tori's back. He's in the back. We'll let him back on.
Yasha. Sorry in the back. Well, yeah, we become some more information. I like this team we got, man. We got elders. We got a person who's, you know, we got researchers. We got people who really, know the information of
Hmm.
this Israelite thing. And I like building with brothers like this because debating don't get you nowhere. Debating is more about egos. And I'm not a big ego person. I'm willing to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
Like
no, no. You're absolutely correct. I mean, in this particular case, I wouldn't even consider it. But like, I'm judging the way I'm hearing where things were being brought out, that wouldn't really even make it to a debate.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You make it to a debate. I mean, the people just get mad at each other. For the majority of them are pushing that. You gotta don't blame them. They're pushing that because they gotta have some type of identification point. So
yeah,
they try to identify with something. Because it's kind of harsh to say, "Well, y'all ain't leaving us nothing." No, it's not true. You just gotta come in a certain way. You can be in a part of the Commonwealth, and ain't nothing wrong with being part of the Commonwealth. Shit, we all in reality at this point, though, in this crazy world, gotta get it right. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. Hey,
there's
Tori,
no debate
stay
on
in
it.
the back. Stay in the back. Y'all should probably just doing something real quick here. See you when you get
Hmm.
back on.
Yeah. Yeah, but that really there's no preliminary would solve that.
Yeah,
There's no contention point really, because like I said, if you really want to end this, say, well, show me a scripture in any biblical manuscript that you can come up with.
yeah, true that.
It ain't gonna be able to do it. So literally, what are you gonna do? I know they want to go with, oh, people over there now. Look, they like show all that stuff, but that doesn't mean anything because that's surface. You take away the scriptures, then they want to do that. Then hey, then yeah, y'all Jews, y'all the ones. Yep, you right. But the scripture's gonna tell us that we will lose our heritage. So guess what? Right back at us again, right?
Yeah, let me call him and see if he hold on, Tori. I'm gonna see if y'all should get answer.
Mhm.
Oh,
Sometimes you get into the mood where things be sounding good. And you get into that mood, so he might not be paying attention. But just hang on, he'll be back in. I really wanted to hear what the Christopher guy had to say.
Christopher, you trying to get back into it?
Nah, I was just saying I thought he would come back. Yeah, you tried calling uh Yasha? Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Hey, you see
Yes, I'm back.
Tori?
I'm back. I'm
You
back,
see
man. Thank God.
you see Tori in the back, Yasha?
I see him in the chat. I don't see, nah, he ain't in the back. I see him. He's in the back. Come back in. Come back in. He's in the back chat. Come back on. Jump on stage. I got you.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I'm going through over here, man. Still caring for my mom, man. But this stuff it gets crazy, man. I can't even have a damn show. You know what I'm saying? Without having to stop and do shit. And it's really bad. Because everybody dump everything on me. You know, but y'all forgive
Mhm.
me. The Lord gonna
No,
bless
yeah,
me
yeah,
before it's over with.
Yeah, no, you good. We're just trying to get Tori in.
yeah. Try to get him back on. Get him back on. But definitely try to get in contact with the Christopher guy because he had something he wanted to ask or say something.
Yeah.
That's definite.
I'm trying to remember that word that they said before the before they made the Afro-Asiatic, they were trying to call it another name. I just can't remember the name. They were trying to say it was something else, and then they modernized it and made it Afro-Asiatic.
Hmm. Matter of fact, let me see because I had a definite. Where did I find that at? I think it's in the Webster Dictionary. Webster Dictionary. If you look it up, it says first known use, right? 1922. Afro-Asiatic was in 1922. Probably find out who was the origin of the one that came up with that. But you got to remember, those time frames, we were powerless. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So they could do anything, get away with anything. But it's a good thing they did that because they didn't realize it. But they was giving away truth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it don't look like nobody else is coming in. So,
Oh, he ain't in the back. He ain't in the back.
nah, ain't nobody else coming in.
Let me
They
see.
may have came in when I was out, taking care of mom or whatnot. But hell, catch them next time. Uh, I'm really lost. I don't know where we at in the conversation. Where you guys at?
Well, you got
Y'all
about
just shooting the breeze?
20 more minutes. So just think about it. We can squeeze them 20 minutes out. We can squeeze them. We can
Oh,
squeeze them.
okay.
I wanted you to go back to when you were saying the Afro and Asiatic. I want you to elaborate more on that. You know what I mean? You had a
I
good
mean,
point.
there's really no elaboration. I mean, you got to be real dumb not to get it. Is it Afro or Asiatic, or is it Afro and Asiatic? I can't. It's hard. The question is broken down to the lowest compound.
Hmm.
Basically, I mean, what is it? What is it? These people don't know what they're talking about because they don't want to be who they are.
Hmm.
We living in a time, man, where people, man, is the new world order, man, is a has dominated. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I mean, I'm reminded of the movie Roots, where Kunti Kinte, it
Hmm.
only took maybe a generation, just
Hmm.
one generation, for his grandson, Chicken George, to go from gladiator, warrior, to goddamn coon. It just took one generation. Well,
Hmm.
all of that African spirit was washed out of him. So to the
Hmm.
point that he didn't even know Master was his daddy.
Yeah. You know that.
That was deep.
Yeah. No, it was deep when you said that. You think about it. Even like when you look at from the Kunta situation, he was tough all the way out. Not one of us as a man that with our state of mind would have did anything different than Kunta did. Because when they took his daughter, they took the child away from them and the wife. He had no choice but to do
I
whatever
don't
he
know.
needed to do.
Being that we end up mass enslaved, right?
Hmm.
I'm reluctant to think most of us wasn't like Kunta. Most of us was submissive.
Hmm.
Most of us
Yeah.
wasn't fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them guys on them plants were scared. You know what I mean? Oh, you finna leave? You talking about doing what? Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. But you got to remember that slave was whipped. That was some serious shit. That cat nine tail was some serious shit to the
Yeah,
hide. Let me tell
yeah,
you
the
something.
cow whip
I
on
don't. I
real.
don't think. I don't think I would have been able to have handled that. You know what I mean? So we gotta.
Yeah,
We gotta give props to the, whether it's African or whatever you want to call it. The black man had tough skin. All right.
yeah. As a
If
matter
you
of fact,
even.
y'all can go to my Eric the Man Scientist YouTube. I just did a jump slavery in VA, the slave trail, and the most harshest slave jail ever in American history, which was in Virginia, the
Mhm,
second biggest slave holding cell behind New Orleans. And most people went to Virginia and then sold out of Virginia to other places. So y'all check that out on how that history went. But
mhm,
it was
mhm.
real harsh.
See the thing with I call it honky America, not every white person, but I'm saying honky America. They don't want the like the generations that come after us to know about that shit. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, they taking CRT out of school right now.
Mm-hmm. That shit was serious business. I mean, I was probably like 3 or 4 when Bruce came on. Man, that shit was scary as hell. Looking at that damn thing. You know what I'm saying? But it was. It's the truth. It's the truth. Even though they later on they got him. I think what they said, try to say what's called it, plagiarize the story or something like that.
Yeah,
Which okay, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but that still doesn't change the damn actuality of what went on.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Telling you.
Now, let me ask y'all, y'all know about the cohesions?
You mean the Khoisan?
Yeah, the cohesion, the sand people. Now,
The people, the people
now,
who they're the people who William Bleak misnomer as the pygmies.
yeah,
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Try to say they was the pygmy people, but they won't. Now they said they was one of the oldest. Now this is they saying they one of the oldest people, right? They're saying that they're, I guess, are they considered like Afro-Asiatic? Because somebody told me they was mixed. So are they Afro-Asiatic or they're just Africans that's mixed with what you would call Asian?
Oh, I know that they older than Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
At least the word for certain. So I mean, these names, all of these names that are stuck on them, that are stuck to them. Europeans did that stuff, man. I
Yeah,
mean, them people didn't
yeah,
call themselves that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
See, that's the thing that we're gonna always wear. We're gonna wear.
I mean, they
You know,
called you a Negro. I mean,
yeah,
you wasn't even none of
yeah.
that.
I'm saying
Yeah,
we're gonna always wear what the European, call us or gave us. That's what they do. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
literally.
they called the Indians India, thinking that they
Hmm.
was in India. I mean, they just don't know, man. They
You know
just
what?
doing too much, man.
You
You
know
know what
what? Yeah, you know what? I think we need to do something on that too.
oh yeah,
Because
definitely, that's my thing.
if you actually check history from like our lens, what we're doing now, we might find out that story that they did that was all propaganda concocted up too. They might have had a obviously, they had a original agenda. You know what I mean? But they like to make it seem easy.
what people fail to realize is that the European that came over here in the 1600s, right?
Yeah,
He was a very, very non-intelligent European. Most of them couldn't even read in the 1600s.
dang,
Hmm.
I ain't know that.
Yeah, I mean, Europeans didn't start getting intelligent until what's called the Enlightenment age, which is mostly around the 1700s.
Hmm. Question for you, since you said
The
that. Now,
Enlightenment era.
before you move on with that, I gotta say something because when you said read, you gave me a trigger. You know, the thing that they put on us like we didn't know how to read and
Yeah,
write. That wasn't truth because we didn't know how to read their language. All
yeah.
right,
I tell
their
people all the
language.
time.
That's
Yeah,
the thing we didn't know how to do. We didn't write
yeah,
their language. You
yeah.
get what I'm saying?
We
So
can't
yeah,
come from a place that originated writing but didn't know how to write and read it.
exactly,
These
But
people
they
didn't
exactly.
tell
want to
us that.
read everything. We had symbols. We knew how to read DNA. You know, I mean, if you it is said that when you look at when you break down the very elements to its very last compound of DNA, you will see that they were shaped like in 3D. They
Hmm.
were shaped like Indinkra symbols.
Ah,
You see, so what
I
I'm
did.
saying is that we knew how to read symbols, signs. We knew how to read the moon, the sun, the stars, the trees. You understand? We didn't. We knew more than just reading words. You
Yeah.
understand
Hmm.
what I'm
The
saying?
thing about it, they were talking about the pineal gland in ancient times. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like the brain. So they let
Yeah.
Hmm.
you know they opened up the head and looked and actually was looking at the brain back in the ancient times.
Hmm.
You're dealing with a very, very, very old people, man. You know,
That's deep. That's deep.
and we focus on Israel, but that's just a small part, man. We are we are chromosomal atom.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, that's funny. They want to put us down. Oh, these guys are all in the jungle, uncivilized, uncivilized. Taught us
You see
that for
how I tell
years.
y'all the science is not exact. You got people that want to talk about evolution, but how do you do that when scientists has found a single chromosomal atom that we all
Yeah.
are
Hmm.
related to?
Hmm.
Chromosome Adam and mitochondrial Eve.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they didn't say
Because I remember they used to
mitochondrial.
always, I remember they used to always,
Chromosomal ape, a
yeah.
mitochondrial monkey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I remember they were talking about the mother because the feminist woman used to come out and talk about the mitochondrial Eve is we're the first people on Earth, and then that's when I started studying. I was like, wait a minute, why y'all ain't talking about the chromosome Adam? Because you know what I'm saying. So they try to make it seem like the mitochondrial was just like the only thing at the time, and then they won't no chromosome Adam.
Like
Hmm.
our world says, more than about Israel. There's others,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh yeah.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Anybody that say, we Israel, we all three on here, we Israel. We know that. We know that. But
Yeah,
we know that we had a history before being Israelites or being Israel. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that's important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though we are probably chose at this point now to correct the world, got to give it that. But yes, there was more. The world was more about others.
yeah. Tori live right around the corner from. He live in Maryland, so he part of the DMV. I need to go follow him one day.
That's
Mhm.
what's up. That's what's up. The family is closer than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah, right in the next, matter where the state up, where DC in the state, so we might as well get the next state.
Well, listen, let's revamp all the things that we said, and because they're gonna be counter. They're gonna be coming
Yeah,
back with
yeah,
some counters.
yeah. They were trying to,
They'll be
but
back
we
with
gonna be ready. We waiting for y'all atheist committees to come counter this, and we will come back, and we will just keep coming. We will keep fighting because we ain't gonna let y'all turn our kids, man, into atheists. I'm not letting that happen. We're
Well,
not
the
letting
thing
that.
about
I'm not. I'm
I,
fighting
I'm
that.
no longer, I'm no longer into this. Just straight debate these clown niggas. I'm into the teaching. You know what I'm saying? It has to be something very beneficial for me and my people in order for me to be debating. It's funny how when I woke up this morning, I just looked and seen numbers just banging off the roof. And it's funny, Sinetta called me today.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm
You
not
know,
debating on these atheists, like, cause I don't even like atheists to even debate with. I'm
and
just gonna be
yeah,
real.
it's not worth it.
he got that
Yeah,
goofball on.
I'm just talking about if they try to come on their show and try to act like if they try to attack this information we put out. I'm just saying we're going to just counterattack. We're not even going to talk to them. We just going to make another video and
Yeah,
teach
we
our
just
people.
gonna make
You know what I'm
videos
saying?
and keep banging
Yeah,
it
I'm
out
not.
because
I don't none of y'all atheists come to me talking about no debate because I ain't debating on here. I
You,
don't
you
even
got
like
you,
y'all.
you got to remember, most majority of a lot of the debates are won by convincing. Who can
Yeah,
convince more. Doesn't necessarily mean that especially when you're talking about the Kemet said, if you really, 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 really think about it, they they outnumber us because a lot of people don't have no faith in something for whatever reason. They choose to, what I mean, follow suit of whatever because they get their shit from the white man.
Because think
I
about
hate
it,
to say that. They get it from the white man. You
not
obviously.
only is this not going not only this going to rub the atheists wrong and the comedics wrong, it's going to rub some Israelites wrong that don't believe in this Asiatic and African thing.
Well, they
So
got it.
it's
They got it. They got it. You talking about our own? Our
yeah,
own got to use
the camps don't agree with that at all.
our own. They're gonna have to look and think about it. Use they got their own what you call their own mind, their own Hebraics. They better
Yeah,
start using them because
yeah,
everything that's fed in front of you not necessarily truth. You know what I mean? And obviously, they reading some of the material that's coming in the form of a European branded book.
yeah.
So their interest is not in that book. They have to realize that. You know what I mean? It might make them think they are more, I guess, educated in the form of certain things, but in reality, you better have some type of faith in something. All right?
Yeah.
You better have some type of faith. You know what I mean? We didn't just come out of thin blue air and bam, boom, we here. Uh-uh. There's a creator that did this. Okay?
Exactly. Almost definitely.
You got to remember, on the other side, when we close those eyes and go to sleep, that final sleep, you better hope there's a creator, because if this was all for nothing.
I'm gonna say this because I'd already challenged people on. I challenged the atheists, the comedians. I challenged everybody. I'm challenging anybody. I'm challenging Fabulous Sinners Nation. I don't care what you are. You see what my picture say? It says, "I am God," and it says, "I am God because I'm the child of the Most High." Okay, and that's the verse that I use all the time. And I'm saying any group that claims that they are gods got it directly from the Bible and need to admit to it, and unless they can show me an ancient
Hmm.
place, an ancient city, an ancient people that as a whole consider themselves as God, and you cannot find that. And I've been challenged out for years, and you ain't never going to find it. So admit that you got that from biblical verses.
That's
You got
right.
that right. You
We
got that
we
right.
brought we brought the one God concept to
Yeah,
this
I
world.
was going to say it last week, didn't we? Last week. That's right. We brought it.
Yep. And any other understanding than ours is incorrect. Our understanding, these three men right here, our understanding have been tested through the fire, and it's being tested every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep.
Mhm. Yeah, it's got about, what, 3 more minutes. But I think, yes, next one you should do something about that. We were talking about with the Indians. Do something about that with the somebody said something about Christopher Columbus. I think on one of the chats.
Yeah, I got some good stuff about Christopher Columbus. I have to go and look for this book, man. I have a book that was endorsed by John Henrik Clark. The author
Mm,
was Michael Bradley, and it's called The Columbus Conspiracy.
mm.
Awesome, awesome book. You hear me? I mean,
Yeah,
This
I
title
most
itself
definitely want to
sounds
hear
good.
that. I
The
most
title
definitely do.
itself gave it that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to hear about that.
man, I am
I
here to
heard
tell
different. I heard different things. 'Cause I remember Yasha came out. I mean, not Yasha. I mean, Yasha came out. With a book saying that Chris Columbus was a Hebrew. I mean, I don't know. I don't really
you.
see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but I haven't came
Yeah.
across no. I
Yeah.
mean,
That
it's
part I
up
would
in
like
the air.
leave that alone.
I mean, I've heard that before. They say the Cologne. His name is Cristobal Cologne. That's his
Yeah,
real name. It's not Christopher Columbus. A Christopher Columbus in history never existed. The guy
that's a
named
bomb drop right there.
That's a
yeah,
contention point.
yeah. Well, it's a fact. There is no Christopher Columbus in history. The man's name was Cristobal Cologne, and the Cologne family was said to have been a Jewish family.
Ooh, man, that's a contention point. I
Yeah,
can feel it.
And some I haven't heard much, but I've even heard over the years of a black Christopher Columbus.
Mm,
yeah, I
mm,
definitely heard that.
mm.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, man, because we ran that part. We ran Europe, and I mean, they're making it seem like that we never did, but there's evidence all in Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Christopher Columbus was a turncoat Jew, a crypto Jew, a black man that was turncoat, a cooning for a Massa, Isabella, and Ferdinand.
Yeah, I can believe it because you know why? Because there's a lot of conquistadors were too. They were black people too. That was
Yes. So
now my people's gonna be like, y'all done started some shit.
there was a movement that came out. There was a movement that came out to try to some years ago, back in the 80s and 90s, and it was because of guys like Sheikh Diop and Ivan Van Sertima, John Henrik Clark, Dr. Ben. These
Hmm.
guys was creating such a store,
Hmm.
a stir, excuse me, in the fields of archaeology, anthropology,
Hmm.
history. They were creating genetics. They were creating such a stir that Europeans came up with this idea, this moniker for us. Like they called us Afrocentrics.
yeah.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
They still try to say
You
that now. I
know,
be saying that in some of the studies.
yeah, they call us Afrocentrics. They call us we want to blacken. They say that we want to go everything in history. We want to go back and blackenize it.
What is
But I
somebody
think that's
said something about it? Something about pan hat or something like that. You giving me a flashback. Somebody said something about that. Them hatters. People gonna have to face it. All right, you're gonna have to face it. Logically, yes, we gotta live in a world with a mixture of people, but in truth, though, when you trace out research and in truth, black man or man of color, woman of color was original
Yeah,
to the soil
yeah. I'm most definitely agree with
of
that.
Earth. Okay.
So I mean, are we going? I want to do an outro, like people
yeah,
say their last words.
yeah. Well, hey
I,
man,
I'll, I'll go.
we
I'll go
just
first. I'll go first because
go
you're
ahead.
closer. Um, yeah, this the bad scientist. You know what I'm saying? Got Yasha, got DOA in here, the elders. We will keep studying. We will keep researching, bringing y'all information. We're not doing it to prove that we smarter than nobody. We're not doing it to prove that we are better debaters than anybody. We're doing this, man, to get closer to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? We're doing this to bring our people closer to the Most High, and that's the most important thing too.
Man, you said a mouthful.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say. I'm DOA. I'm gonna say this. We'll the DOA hit squad on this particular case. I'm gonna be the one that you're gonna have to convince. So I'm gonna be the dummy until you input something in here that makes sense. I'm gonna check it out, and then I'll give a decision. But other than that, this is good talk.
Well. We finally come to this ending point of the show, and I am your host, Yasha Ben Israel, also known as Terry Whitfield, for the Yasha Ben Israel podcast show, right here, emanating off of YouTube. Push that like button, push that share, let many people see this as you can, and most importantly, hit that subscription button. I like to say I love you all. Peace and good night.
Good night.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.